Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome back to Random Crafty Acts, or welcome to Crafty Acts if you haven't been here before. My name is Barb. This is part of a series that is going to be called It's All About Scraps. I've done a couple of big mass makings, and because of that, I have piles and piles of scraps. For example, this are just the strips that are white, okay, or light color. I spent a couple of days sorting them all out, dividing them up by size so I could use them. This, if I can reach it, is the bucket where there's black. That's the first thing I sort out. Lots of color cardstock scraps, strips, tissue paper. Okay, so as a card maker, you have a couple of options. One is to figure out a way to use them. The other, I guess you can just permanently store them, which is what I have a tendency to do with things, or you can throw them away. And I prefer at least to make an attempt to put them into cards that look reasonable. So over the next however long, we're gonna try to do that, try to use them as best we can. I wanted to show you one from yesterday's work. This one, I had this piece and then this, and then you put a strip in the middle and across, okay? Really simple card, okay? These are the ones. Colors together that you might not normally think of look better than you thought, okay? Simple, simple cards. All right. This one is one of my favorites. I love doing these sideways things with the strips and not necessarily worrying about coordinating them as much. Okay, so let's jump in and try a pattern that I stumbled across last night, and I will talk as I'm sliding these. This is the other thing that happened. As you notice, most of what I have left over scrap-wise is color cardstock, okay? This that you see here, including these big pieces here, this is all I have left for the most part. I've got this little packet here of pattern paper scraps. And that's because when I mass make, I work with a template like Jess Crafts, and I'll link her below. And she sets her templates up so that you can make multiple cards without, we're probably going to throw this away, I just thought you should know, without any pattern paper scraps, okay? All right, so once I have separated the color cardstock from the pattern paper, then I kind of divide it up by size. Okay, so you can see all of this stuff that's out here. I don't know how much of this is actually in frame. Is pretty much strips, okay? And then once I get it divided that way, then I go in and I try to put them in something that resembles color groups, okay? Right, and then always keeping in mind that some of this is double-sided, like this could probably go in this group, so I've got it set aside here. Every so often, I run across a piece that's like this. This is actually big enough for the background on a card. Okay. The other thing that becomes really obvious is, like, I have like just a couple of pieces of purple, and that's it. I've got this one little bag that I keep shoving all the purple stuff in because I've mentioned before that purple just is really hard to match. So I can probably end up making something with that. And then I just keep them like this so that they're in a position where I could use them. All right, I'm gonna shift these aside. All right, so I saw this on Pinterest. You take a piece at the top, okay? You take a piece down here at the bottom, and we're gonna put this on a background. And then you can put a piece here and a piece here. And then what the person did was they went in and they stamped in here. And I am probably going to use one of my strips that I have to go in here. But what I want, oh, I'm also using I did a bunch of cards. These are still A2 size cards. They're 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's just instead of folding this way, they fold this way. And this works really well if you're sending a card to somebody and you think that maybe they might want to hang on to it so that because this will stand up, which you probably don't need me to demonstrate this. You know, they'll stand up like that, which makes it nice to be able to do. Okay, so the first thing, I had this brown strip that kind of matches that, but not exactly. So I had this big piece. So oh, and my other objective in this is not to reach back there and get out a new piece of paper. All right. All right. So this is that 4 1/8. Okay. And this piece is really heavy. It's much thicker than anything else I use. 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. And then the other thing I'm going to have to do, because I didn't have any, I'm not going to want it on white. I'm going to want this. So just forget what I showed you. So we're going to go ahead and cut a 5 1/2. Okay, and this is that really heavy stuff I bought. That's 110-pound cover cardstock, which I have found does not work nearly very well for me because it is so heavy. Okay. All right, set that out of the way, and we're going to do this. And this is one of those times where I have to use my bone folder. All right. And this is going to go on top here. But before we do that, we're going to do this. Okay. And notice, I don't know if you've watched some of my other videos, but you'll remember that when I was building the cards that I made with these, I kept saying, I don't like this pattern on the other side. And I'm still not a big fan of this, but this is going to make a decent card. Okay, and then, okay, so notice that these pieces were such that I could leave that little bit of a border around there, even if they look like maybe they're just a teeny bit crooked. It's not a big deal. And then I'm going to put that one in here. It is raining outside. I don't think you can hear that. The space I'm in is very well insulated. Okay. And this is just a teensy bit off, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to slide back here and let's see how this works. Okay, see, that doesn't really quite fit in there. How are my circles? Oh, I think my circles will look good there. Okay, hang on, I've got to find the circles. Okay. And one of the things I'm going to add in is, since I have this other piece of scrap, well, that didn't work very well. There it goes. Okay. Glue on the back of there, put that on the front of this card. Put this in here, kind of spacing it between the two. All right, and we have a card. Okay, one of the things we can think about with this, and we're not going to necessarily do it with this piece, but remember, we can put a piece over this even though it has a hole in the back. So we're going to set that over here to the side. All right. Okay, that's one. Okay, I cut a lot of backs yesterday, so let's just fiddle around here and see what we can come up with. Okay. I figure you don't need to watch me like dig through every single thing I've got. I think we'll do this one this way. Okay, this is a piece that I cut yesterday that's 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, this is going to go on a the face of a A2 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. All right, these are little black and white strips from, I don't know how long ago it's been. I haven't done one of these. Got a bunch of this paper someplace, and I haven't done one of these in a good while, so that was one of the other things I did, is I took all of the big sheets and I cut those into 4 by 5 1/4. And then if they were big enough, I cut them by 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 so that I could put them on the back. Okay, now technically these are green on the other side, but the butterflies don't really do much there. Now, something I could do here would be to put this like this, but if I wanted to put this in here, I could cut this in half and I could put it on either side and put this on top, but I think I'm just going to do this. Okay. Okay. And this will go on the front of this card, and we'll have 2 done. One of the other aspects of doing this is that when you get down to where you only have a few things left and you can't figure out what to do with them, it's always an opportunity to give yourself permission to throw something away. Now, I'm going to hang on to this at this point only because I've got a stack of greens over here, and it might work in there with that. Okay, but notice here, like I have this, this, and this, but I don't really have, that kind of goes with these, but there are some things that'll probably end up in the recycle bin. Okay. All right, let's see if we can figure out a way to do one more using this method that we're using. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay, this it's pretty much white. Okay, this will go here. And I think what I'm going to end up looking for is something to put, oh, maybe we'll use this. We just need something to go in the middle. Found a whole stack of these. Kind of. Let me see if I've got a small one of him. That would kind of make a happy birthday. It's got the pink on it. There's the one I'm looking for. I have some little bundles of things like this that I cut at one time. So I can put him here. And then let me check my happy birthday strips. I'll be right back. Okay, I didn't find any happy birthday strips, but I did find these Have a Happy Day. So let's use this. This again is something that I cut at some point and hadn't used. And notice that these are some cut aparts that were on the back of this scrapbooking paper, and they were things that I knew I was never going to use. In this case, the pattern on this side, obviously I must have done something with. But I mean, that's the other thing, which if you have 12 by 12 paper, one side may not work for you at all, but the other side maybe will. So he is outlined in white, whereas the strip I've got out right there is cream. Let me see if I have a, yeah, there's a white Have a Happy Day. Let's use it. Okay. All right, that's 3. All right, let's see what we can do with the rest of this. Now this is a strip that is what they call the, I don't know what they call it, the bounding strip or something. It's a strip that's at the end. So let's see what we have. in our big bag. It's a brown on the back. Okay. So let's do, this piece is 5 3/4. So let's do a 5 1/4. Four by 5 1/4. Yep. So we'll cut a 4 here. All right. And then we can cut another 4 here. So we've got 2 backs then that we can use maybe with these. Okay, let's see. So some of the things I'm doing here, these are just like standard, these are basic patterns that you see. I think if we do that and then put a circle, this says Happy Spring, which we're not going to use. I did a bunch of those. We'll drag another circle out. Okay. I should probably just, you know, like get the whole box over here. So these little drawers are part of a tool kit that I borrowed from my husband's side of the shed. Again, this, you can see these were cut aparts. All right, so we're going to leave a little edge there. Gonna leave an edge here. And I really like the circle having some color around it. Let me look real quick and see if maybe I have one. We'll go in here, and I do not. Let's see if there's another piece of the brown. Yeah, there is. There are several pieces, it looks like. Okay. I'll put this here. Put this out in the center here. Fold this, and that will make 4 cards, which works out well because I had 26 in the box over there, so that brings me up to an even 30. I like even numbers. Okay. Simple cards. Okay, using the scraps that we have. All right, so that gives us 4 out of the 2 stacks that we have. These I'm going to set to the side, but they will probably end up in the trash, or recycle trash, not using. Okay, this is a piece of pink that looks like it'll go with those, so we'll look at those in the next video. Thank you. You'll notice that everything I'm making for Operation Gratitude. It's part of my donation. The link for Operation Gratitude is in the description box below. Please check on that. I've also put a link below for jesscrafts.com, which is the site that's my go-to site when I am mask making. The patterns that I find like this, I go on Pinterest and I put in, I search by card sketches for scraps. Because anybody who does paper crafting has lots of little bits and pieces left over, you'll find lots of different patterns that you can use. Find one that seems to fit what you have. Also look for something that you like, and try to use up the stuff you have left over. Thank you, and I will see you again soon.